Rail Baltic, how it should be more correctly pronounced. Well, this is first such a type of event of the Polish-Lithuanian Chamber of Commerce, which is done in a webinar format, and participants are taking, participating in our event from 4 different countries online. I hope this first attempt of ours will be successful, and we will have more and more such type of events in the future. And obviously, while I see new participants joining and connecting to our meeting, I would shortly introduce the topic itself, and then we can start with our presentations and our substantial part of the event. Well, obviously, Rail Baltic, a project that is almost 30 years old, from the early days of independence of our Baltic nations. We have been talking about this project, having a unifying single railway gauge of European standard, of European width, that would connect Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania to Poland and to Western Europe. For about 30 years, this project has been in the media, on paper, on the agendas of politicians, on the agendas of financing of the project in the European Union. But the year is 2020, but we still don't have it, unfortunately. So obviously a lot of businessmen, a lot of people are still asking, what is happening? Why the project is not there yet? Why cannot we go to Vilnius from Tallinn via train? Why can't we go from Riga airport to Warsaw via train? What is the real reason, stopping the project, and what are the challenges that have been encountered in the process? Obviously, all these topics and all these questions, and also the status of this extremely complicated project will be explained to us today by a very distinguished panel. Today we have 5 speakers from Lithuania, Estonia, Latvia, and Poland, who are representing the project and are working on the project on a daily basis. And I would like to introduce our today's speakers in a short while now. So first, the Vice Minister of Lithuania, Mr. Gytis Mažeika, Vice Minister of Transport and Communications, will be talking and presenting the general overview of the project. Then he will be followed by Mr. Agnis Drikšna, the Chief Executive Officer and Chairman of the Management Board of Rail Baltic, as the project implementation company, who will be followed by Mr. Tõnu Grünberg, CEO at Rail Baltic Estonia. Then we go further south to Mr. Arenius Jackus, of Rail Baltic Department of Coordination. Mr. Arenius is the employee of Lietuvos geležinkelių infrastruktūra AB. And then, last but not least, we will give the floor to Mr. Marek Kubera, Deputy Director of the Investment Realization Center of PKP Polskie Linie Kolejowe S.A. And I myself, I'm Robert Juotka. I will be the moderator of your today. I'm the chairman of the Polish-Lithuanian Chamber of Commerce in Vilnius, and who are the organizers of this event here today. So without further ado, I would like to give the floor to our first speaker, Mr. Gytis Mažeika, Vice Minister of Transport and Communications of Lithuania, who would give his introductory word and the general overview of the project. The floor is yours, Mr. Mažeika.
Well, thank you, Robert. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Thank you, Robert, and thank you for the invitation, and thank you very much for actually organizing this discussion. Because, as you said, we had we had decades of talks, and if you would ask me what is the overview of the project today, is that there are no longer talks anymore. There is the construction ongoing already. So I think that this is the best summary I can give it to you for the moment. But of course, I can elaborate a bit more and go a bit into the project itself. I think that where we stand now is that we are actually at the moment where the project provides a huge opportunity for the Baltic region and the businesses for the Baltic region. Why is it so? It's because it actually, we are in the middle of the implementation phase, basically meaning that there are loads of opportunities for different businesses around to take part in the project from, because the activities are very huge, starting from the land acquisition, going to the design and as well into the construction activities. You maybe have heard that the Baltic states alone had applied for more than 664 million euros lately for the latest application for the EU funds. Poland has actually received more than 400 million euros from that application. So what I'm saying is that these are now huge money we are talking about, and this is happening today. In Lithuania, we had launched in June a huge tender for construction works from Kaunas to the Latvian border. This is the mainline construction, which have to be started next year. So the tender is ongoing. It's open for everyone to participate. And I think that in 2021, we'll also see huge progress and developments also on the construction works in other partner countries. So this is my brief overview, and I think this is a huge opportunity for the businesses around. I will not actually dwell too much on the whole project because this is Agnes' work to do, and I know Agnes will be speaking after me, so I will probably leave it up to him. But I just want to convey my message to all the participants here that everyone is invited to take part. This is a big opportunity, and these are actually huge money that are coming and floating now into the project. I think such opportunities as you have now opportunities to discuss and to exchange views and knowledge, as you have now organized today, are very important. We have to discuss, we have to align, we have to share the information of actually about what is happening in the project. And I'm actually waiting for more detailed discussion and very specific questions actually to me, to Agnes, to Arrhenius. I'm quite sure we will be able to answer all of those. If not, then we will come back to you later on. So this is my brief overview, and thank you again for the invitation. And probably I will ask Agnes to give an overview of the whole project as a coordinator. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mažeika. It was indeed an elucidating intro. And yes, let's proceed to Mr. Agnes Drikšna, who is the CEO of the management company of Rail Baltic. And I know Agnes has a very nice presentation prepared for us. Please, the floor is yours.
Yes, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's as always pleasure actually speaking with the people from a business and explaining what is going on in a project and what are possibilities to get involved. Indeed, I have prepared a short presentation and I will share the screen in a minute. My apologies, I'm not very familiar with this. Can you see my screen now? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can see.
You can see the screen, yeah?
Yes, Agnes, you can go ahead.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. So, to be very brief and to leave a lot of time for discussion, let me just remind you what is the Rail Baltica project from the global perspective. So first of all, from the technical side, this is European railway gauge, electrified double track from Tallinn through 3 Baltic countries and Poland, connecting Baltic states to the European railway network. What's important, the design speed is 249 kilometers per hour. And I'm mentioning this because this is very crucial, which allows us to have 3 kind of traffics on the same tracks. High-speed traffic connecting 3 Baltic capitals, night trains going to the Europe, freight trains developing the business and cargo, and also regional traffic. For that reason, we also see that this will bring a completely new connectivity to the Baltic regions amongst the countries and with the Europe. And it will bring a lot of opportunities, as this will be kind of the missing link to the Europe. It will have a positive effect on environment, as this is electrified railway. Also, it will save lives at the end of the day, and it will impact economy at the scale what we actually cannot really predict today. But it's obviously that we are speaking in the future about one market, about one bigger market, what we can actually relate to. Going forward, I know that the project is very complicated. So I think that it's also important for me to align a little bit who does what in a project, so for you to better understand. And of course, first of all, the owners of the project are the states, and all the infrastructure which will be built in each country will belong to it. States also ensures the co-financing in amount of 15% for the European funds. And of course, states are the ones who take these joint strategic decisions on the project. Then there are 2 more players on the table. First of all, national implementing bodies. Those are national companies which are mainly responsible for the development of project in their countries. And that means the construction of the tracks, major engineering structures, and also local facilities as terminals and stations, etc. And then, in order to coordinate such a huge project as Rail Baltica between 3 countries and so many implementers, the created company, RB Rail, which is responsible for bringing this one project idea forward. And that means that we are not building 3 different projects in each country. This is a one project. And RB Rail is responsible for the common studies and common standards, whether it's procurement standards or technical standards. RB Rail is also responsible for the design in all 3 countries, so that we have one style and one type of design, so that there is this continuity. And also, RB Rail is responsible for the electrification and signaling, as this is part of the construction, but it's from the planning point of view, will be done in a little bit later stage and across all the line itself. So these are 3 main partners of the project or implementing sites. If we go further, what is kind of up to the project updates today? First of all, we spoke at the beginning that project is already on the table for the last few decades, and this is true. But the speed, actually, project has gained in the last 5 to 6 years, and currently implementation of the project is going on in all 3 countries according to the agreed schedule. I will speak a little bit later more about each country, what exactly is going on. But this is very important, that not only in the 3 Baltic countries, but also in Poland, the section between Warsaw and the Polish-Lithuanian border right now has acquired financing and moving forward with the design and construction. Also, I would like to stress that this has not been easy time for the project and for the countries and for the business, because as you know, during the COVID, there's a lot of limitations. But the project has managed to move forward, and actually even more. We see that this project will be kind of a catalyst and will contribute for the recovery from the COVID, as it will bring the investments in infrastructure, and it will generate the financing not only for the construction section, but for all sections, whether it's kind of hospitality, whether it's producing, whether it's transport, etc. So it will be a catalytic effect for the whole region itself. And currently we are in a detailed technical design phase, and already this year and next year, the large-scale construction works will start in all 3 countries. I believe colleagues will talk in more details what exactly is planned for each country, but message from me is very clear. The large-scale construction works are upon us. And finally, actually, what is Rail also is working very actively is to promote the project. Promote project within the countries to the business sectors, promote project to European Union, to the partners, to the parliament, in order to ensure this support for the project at all levels. I put also one slide about the strategic considerations, because what is important when you have a project, it doesn't matter whether it's Rail Baltica or it's kind of kitchen renovation project. And in essence, the principle is the same. You have to know the costs, you have to know the scope, and you have to have a time. And all that you have to do in a proper quality. So these are kind of 3 veils for a project such as Rail Baltica: cost, scope, and time in a due quality. In order to achieve that, it's of course, first of all, availability of the funding and the resources. For the funding, I think it's quite clear. But for the resources, what's important is that such a scale project in Baltics has never been done before. So it means that we have to mobilize all the resources what we have and plan them in advance. In order to do so, what we need a very clear construction logic. What, when is being built in which country? We need to have a very straightforward procurement strategy. How are we buying those construction works? And of course, what is also important, where to get supply materials. Which materials are available in each country, which ones we will have to import. And of course, if we speak about Rail Baltica, it's 870 kilometers of the track. And there is a well-based argument that there would be need to buy a supply materials jointly as a consolidated procurement in order to have a bigger market power. And at the end of the day, decrease the cost of the project. Moving forward about the financing. As you know, Rail Baltica CapEx currently as of today is planned close to 6 billion euros, from which 85%, 4.6 billion euros will be financed from the European Union funds, and 15%, which is approximately 1.2 billion euros, co-financed by 3 Baltic countries. Currently, as of today, we have secured and signed the contracts for 1.2 billion euros. We are in a process of signing CEF6 for the 260 million euros. The decision to award this financing has been already taken, and currently we are proceeding with the signing of the contract. And for the next financial period, there is a little bit more than 4 billion euros that will be invested. And that means that this investment will come from 2021 till 2026. Considering all this amount, you can see that in the next 6 years, there will be a huge potential for the companies, for the local and international companies to participate and actually to bring benefits during the construction phase and also and even more after the construction is completed. I will go very shortly about the status of each country. So currently in Estonia, there is a detailed technical design in all territory of Estonia. There are also procurements started for the construction works, which is planned currently as railway crossings, viaducts plus animal passages, etc. And also development of the regional stations in Tallinn and Pärnu is going on. In case of Latvia, the detailed is the same detailed technical design in all territory of Latvia. Currently, the bigger construction works are planned in Riga, basically Riga Central Station and Airport. And this strategy was chosen because those 2 objects are the most complicated and they take more time to build. For example, in Riga Central Station, the station has to be rebuilt without interrupting railway traffic. So it takes more time and it's more complicated. And in Lithuania, currently the detailed technical design is from Latvian border to Kaunas. 2 special plans are on the way from the Kaunas to Vilnius and Kaunas to Polish border. And as well, construction works are already going on around the Kaunas node, and the big procurement for the construction works on the mainland from Kaunas to Latvian border is already launched and will start next year. And if we speak about the Poland, I'm very glad and happy that Poland is very actively participating in the project. They have ensured financing also from European Union. And currently we can see that 3 Baltic countries and Poland has aligned the same challenging time schedule for the project to be completed by the end of 2026. Now, a little bit about the practical thing about the procurements, because Rail Baltica is using European and national funding. So that means that all the contracts are awarded on the basis of the fair and transparent procurement procedure. We have aligned the procurement procedure with all our implementing bodies and partners so that actually companies can rely that this is kind of Rail Baltica procurement. So they should be on the same basis. That's why we have those common procurement standards and guidelines. We are usually using the documentation for the procurements in English, especially for the construction and big scale of the procurements. Of course, there are exceptions when this is purely regional thing, for example, like a territorial planning, etc. But mainly documentation is in English. We are actively engaging with our partners and suppliers in order to inform beforehand what we are planning for this year, for the next year, what are the opportunities. And at the end of the day, we are also conducting the surveys of our suppliers about their satisfaction. And currently we see that more than 70% are satisfied with procurement organization and procurement principles. Just to illustrate a little bit, in 2020, for example, you can see that total amount of investment is planned on almost 800 million euros in a procurement. And at this moment, you can see all the information about the procurements in RB Rail homepage, railbaltica.org, about 2020 and 2021 in all 3 countries. And I would like to also encourage you to take a more active role in Rail Baltica project. First of all, to getting information. Subscribe to the procurement newsletter and get information there. I also would like to invite you to the online global forum for Rail Baltica, which will be held on 17th of November. And this procurement main topic will be construction, and once more construction. And of course, just also encourage you to increase the presence in the region and in the country. Plan in advance, where can you participate and what resources do you need? And of course, look for the partners. And to finalize my short presentation, just a short example of upcoming tenders in 2020. For example, in RB Rail, there will be consolidated material sourcing plan, ASBO and ISA services for design, for design part. Also, we're planning engineering services for energy and systems, etc. In case of Estonia, road viaduct construction will take place, high voltage power line crossings, gas pipelines, etc. So preparatory work for the construction of the mainland itself. And in Latvia, national implementing body is working on the construction section in International Airport Riga, and as well planning to have the Salaspils multimodal terminal development, including support services and detailed technical design. And with Lithuania, as Gytis already said, Lithuania is preparing for the huge construction part of the mainline, close to 500 million euros, and of course, Neris bridge construction and access roads. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for these 10 minutes. I hope that I explained to you, at least gave a thought and prepared you for the discussion. Thank you once more.
Thank you very much, Agnes. Once more, you indeed gave us a very nice overview of the situation. Some sound problems here, okay. This is better. So, in fact, everybody has a lot of questions. I do have a lot of questions, but I will keep them for the last part of our event, for the discussion. And now I would like to give the floor to Mr. Tõnu Grünberg, CEO of Rail Baltic Estonia, who will tell us about the northern part of the project. Tõnu, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Robert. Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, dear partners, pleasure to be here in this forum. Thank you for having me here. Let me just very briefly then update you where we are in Estonia, and of course the general feeling and status what actually Agnes already gave you. But let me just go through it again very briefly. So basically, this Rail Baltic project is definitely the biggest infrastructure project ever undertaken in all Baltic states, and definitely for Estonia as well. So we have never done anything that big in one go, let's say, in one project. Of course, if you just multiply all the roads and all the ports and all the airports, you can get more. But as a one project, this is definitely the biggest. And if we look at what it really delivers to users in the future, so that is immense. So the socio-economic effect will be that big that it's very difficult to underestimate how it really goes. So it's really the big perspective. So basically that's the big picture that we really look forward to deliver on this. If we look at the timelines, then basically we can say that there is 2026 is the main project deadline to really open the Rail Baltic, going through the Baltics until Poland and further. So basically that's the deadline. It is challenging, we have to say, as it was already mentioned several times today. The project has been delayed in a way. Actually, we cannot say it's delayed. It's just has been from the inception to today's, there has been a long time. So now we really need to speed up to deliver. But we definitely will do that all together, and this will be opened sooner or later, and hopefully then 2026 as planned. So if we look closer to then Estonian part, I think what makes us unique is that we have the bridge to the Finland and to the basic Nordic countries, which is currently, of course, it's going to be the freight connection. So we are building a Muuga freight multimodal terminal, which is the only direct output from the Rail Baltic to the sea. So this Muuga freight terminal will be extremely important, like a freight crossroad. There will basically there will be a meeting point for this old, like a wider 1520 railway with this narrower than European standard 1435, the freight terminal for ferries, which go then to Sweden, Finland, Norway, and of course the road transportation as well. So that's gonna connect us with Finland, and our Finnish colleagues and Finnish businesses are really looking forward to open this link. It basically operates already as we speak, but of course it doesn't have the fast connection to Europe, and that's what they are looking for. Because if we look at the logistics logic, Rail Baltic will bring something totally new to the whole region. So fast connection to Europe, basically to any point. As you know, there is this TEN-T, Trans-European Transport Network concept created by European Union, which basically says that this Rail Baltic will be one of 9 main routes of transportation. Basically, it goes then from Finland through Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, Germany to Netherlands, to Rotterdam, Amsterdam ports. So that's going to be like a parallel and up then north route, which is going to be really great when we can get there. So in Estonia, we have started construction in a small scale yet, but as Agnes also mentioned, so we are speeding up to have a much bigger volume of construction next year. We are concentrating first now onto the bridges, railway bridges and viaducts, aqueducts. So we are like preparing everything, and then we basically build the when all the detailed technical designs will be ready. we start the construction of the main railway body, and then it goes through already ready viaducts. So basically that's the logic we have chosen, which is basically related also to the financing. So basically the financing is there from the European Union and from our state part, so we can really deliver those local objects first, and people can already start to enjoy those new viaducts. Basically, it creates a lot of value even without railway behind it. So that's why we go like this. Currently, we only have one railway bridge in the construction, but now even this year we'll start a new procurement for starting construction of many others next year. So in 2020, we're going to deliver tens of those viaducts already. And of course, we look forward to have all the detailed technical designs ready end of 2020 latest, and then the main road construction will start. And also, as Agnes mentioned, it's very important to have the concept of construction ready. So it should be optimized the way that it's most favorable to all size companies, let's say. So it's not going to favor only few big, but it gives a job also to some smaller ones. That's why this concept is very important to really work out. And this is now kind of driven by RB Rail centrally. So we are coming to this concept soon. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, please follow the course. There will be a lot of business available in the construction part soon. So basically that's in a nutshell. We are moving forward. We are very positive that's going to be done. Of course, there are difficulties in a way that's you cannot avoid it. So it's so many stakeholders, so many, like sometimes some tensions around it. But I mean, generally the support for this project is very high. So we're going to do it, and we're going to do it together, and it's going to be a success in the end. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Tanu. Indeed, it's a team effort. Without the combined efforts of at least 4 countries plus European Union, nothing will happen. Obviously, even looking at the figures of financing or co-financing. But having said that, let's turn over to Lithuania, and let's turn over to Mr. Arenius Jackus from Lietuvos Geležinkelių Infrastruktūra, the Lithuanian participant of the project or implementer of the project. And Arenius, could you tell us about the situation in Lithuania? What's going on here?
Yes. Hello, everybody. I'm sorry I have a little bit technical problems at the beginning, so I was not able to say hello from the beginning. So thank you for the inviting in this event and for the possibility to present situation in Lithuania. And let me start with a very short video. It's only 3 minutes, but it shows the concept of the project and activities and plans we have. So my colleague will start it. Gera garso. Perhaps there is no sound. We will try to fix this.
Can you hear now the sound of a movie?
Not yet.
No.
Okay, so I think it's information written in the movie, so maybe we can just look without sound. So already is this indicated in the movie that we already have 1435 line constructed to Kaunas, and operations of cargo transportation is starting actually right now. We have reshipment near the Poland border, and now the construction of the missing link to the Kaunas intermodal terminal is to be finished very soon, in few months. And of course, it is very important for military mobility and economics and for passengers as well. Here you can see the construction going on in Kaunas North. It is the last link from Kaunas Central Station till Kaunas Intermodal Terminal, and this will give opportunity for new services for cargo transportation. And this line could start to work really very intensive. We noticed that it is a great interest from the market to use this line. And here you can see in the red dots from Kaunas to Latvian border. Currently we have land, all preparations done, and we are waiting for the technical design. It's under preparation, and even the construction tender is already announced, the fast pace of the tender. We can see the future intermodal nodes indicated. And the main figures from economical studies. Yeah, so that was a movie. I'm really very sorry that it was not possible to hear the sound. I would like to add, because Mr. Vice Minister Gytis and Agnes presented very well the overall situation, and it is we have a too short time to tell here a lot of details, so maybe just the main accents from my side. So first of all, it is a common project, as it was mentioned by Agnes and other speakers, and it is very important for all three countries to implement this in a common way, with the common parameters and with I should say, single possibility to use it in the future for the market. And the market is our partners. We look to the market as to our partners, and I am speaking with future clients of Rail Baltica project, but as well to the construction companies. It is of essential importance for the market to be prepared to participate in the construction tenders and to be able to provide good quality services. We have had international competition in this Kaunas Node procurement tender, and it's appear that one company they participated fastly in the tender, but then they said that they are not ready now to come in Lithuanian market. They do not know the specifics, and they are not prepared yet. So it shows that it is necessary a time for the market to be prepared to participate in the tenders and to provide services. So so we have a little bit time left for this preparation, and the main dates are that currently we have this Kaunas Latvian sections a little bit technical design is under preparation, and procurement is already started. The first phase of the procurement, qualification, selection. But this phase is organized in such a way that it is not closed. It was a deadline to submit proposals to be qualified for the next steps of the procurement, but this deadline is not an end. So every company can provide proposals and can be selected during the process to participate in the next phases. So please do this if here we have participants from the construction industry. Procurement is going on. We announced procurement almost about €500 million value, and actually we are moving a little bit ahead our plans and the financing we have. We thought that we could do extra construction, but it's appear that we did not receive enough additional financing for this construction. But the next two calls for application is coming, and we hope to have this financing and to move with this procurement as we planned more or less. So €500 million now is on the table, and we are going to move with the constructions. In the other parts of Lithuania, so 100% of from Poland to Kaunas to Vilnius, the territorial planning is going on. So we are going to finish territorial planning in 2 years, so it will be finished next year. Then additional 2 years for land acquisition and technical design in a parallel, and 2023 it will be a year with major construction works procurement. So as I said, some part is already started, and the other part of the construction will start in 2023 more or less. And I hope that we will be able to prepare to organize a good, transparent and attractive procurement tenders, and as well the market will be prepared to participate in these tenders. And of course, the aim, we still have an aim to finish the project in 2026. We have prepared very detailed Gantt charts and all strategies, and as well our company is using this consolidated procurement. So it is really important to evaluate this possibility to have savings. So in our company we are using this method, and it may really give us some benefits. So perhaps that's it. So we really believe that the financing will not be an obstacle not to finish the project in time, and the negotiations for the financing was, to my opinion, quite successful, and we have additional possibilities to think about the financing from the other funds and related with the COVID-19. So from that perspective, this coronavirus situation can have even a positive impact with the additional possibilities for financing. So we are looking forward to it and commit ourselves to do the project in time, in a good way, transparent way, and according to the common parameters and agreement with our partners from Estonia and Latvia, and to deliver new quality services to the market after 2026. Thank you for the attention.
Thank you very much, Arenius. Yes, it was a nice, thorough introduction with the video. Unfortunately, we didn't hear the sound, but I hope everybody can look up the video at YouTube and watch them themselves if needed. And now let's turn over to our last but not least speaker, Mr. Marek Kubera from Poland, from PKP Polskie Linie Kolejowe. And Mr. Kubera is Deputy Director of the Investment Realization Center. And obviously, the project of Rail Baltica will not happen without Poland. Poland is actually the key part, the key connection of the whole Baltic railway system to Western Europe. And obviously, reconstruction, renovation of the Polish part, which is rather lengthy, if you count in kilometers between Warsaw and the border of Lithuania, is also a huge investment on the Polish part. So, Mr. Kubera, if you could elucidate and tell us what is the status of the project, of the financing, and of the maybe construction works on the Polish side. Thank you. The floor is yours.
Dzień dobry. Witam
serdecznie. Unfortunately.
Widać?
Can you see us?
Yes, it's okay.
Your mic is off now.
I can hear and can see. It's everything fine, okay.
Jestem słyszalny, jestem widoczny?
Yes, now it works.
Okay. Dzień dobry, witam Państwa. Bardzo dziękuję za zaproszenie. Z góry przepraszam, że prezentacja będzie przez mnie wygłoszona w języku polskim. Jest obok mnie kolega Mirosław Kanclerz, który będzie Państwu na bieżąco tłumaczył informacje, które będę Państwu przekazywał.
Good morning. I would like to thank you for invitation. And first of all, I would like to apologize, but my presentation will be in Polish, and my colleague, Mr. Mirosław Kanclerz, will support me and will translate my presentation.
Szanowni Państwo, pragnę podkreślić, że projekt Rail Baltica na terenie Polski jest kluczowym projektem realizowanym przez naszą spółkę PKP Polskie Linie Kolejowe. Za chwileczkę zaprezentuję Państwu krótką prezentację, która pokazuje poszczególne etapy realizacji tego projektu na terenie Polski i na jakim etapie jesteśmy.
Dear colleagues, I would like to underline that the Rail Baltica project is one of the key projects in our railway network, PKP PLK, and in a few moments, of course, I will show you a short presentation with the information about the progress of the project on the Polish territory. Trzeba ich pewnie wybrać i share zrobić.
Jest dostępny. Tylko będzie ją dobrać.
Can you see our presentation now?
We can see it, yes.
Okay. Szanowni Państwo, na terenie Polski, jeżeli chodzi o postępowania przetargowe, oczywiście ogłaszamy sami na poszczególne odcinki realizacyjne. Przewidywany termin zakończenia całej inwestycji na terenie Polski, czyli około 370 km linii, to jest koniec roku 2027. W tej chwili mamy 102 km linii praktycznie już zrealizowanej, co stanowi 28% długości całego projektu. 71 km linii mamy w tej chwili podpisaną umowę na realizację, co stanowi odpowiednio 19% tego projektu i 194 km mamy na etapie przygotowania, czyli mówimy o studiach wykonalności i dokumentacji projektowej, co stanowi 53% długości projektu.
Talking about Rail Baltica in Poland, we have 367 kilometers of railway lines to be completed by 2027. And today we have the actual situation is that 28% of the, let's say, of the whole lines of the whole project is already completed. So 102 kilometers of railway lines, the works are completed. Then we have 71 kilometers of railway lines, and for these lines we have already signed construction contracts for constructions, which is 19% of the whole project, and around half of the lines, 53% of the lines, we are working on these projects. We have preparatory works and also preparatory works for procurements for these lines.
Teraz będziemy wchodzić w troszeczkę większe szczegóły i są tutaj na mapie pokazane poszczególne odcinki realizacyjne na terenie Polski. Odcinek czerwony to jest długości 66 km. Mamy praktycznie prace już zakończone. Kolejny odcinek żółty na 36 km. Prace realizacyjne się kończą. Już po zmodernizowanych liniach uruchomiliśmy ruch pociągów. Kolejny odcinek 71 km. 26 czerwca, co jest bardzo istotne, podpisaliśmy właśnie umowę na realizację tego odcinka. Następnie mamy taki króciutki odcinek, który tutaj widać, to jest spółka nasza podjęła prace związane z przygotowaniem studium wykonalności dla sprawdzenia możliwości zrobienia obwodnicy Białegostoku, aby jeszcze skrócić czas przebiegu czasu jazdy pociągów na terenie Polski, a zarazem skrócić czas postoju na stacji Białystok. Także tu jesteśmy na etapie studium wykonalności. Kolejny odcinek od Białegostoku do Ełku. Jesteśmy w bardzo zaawansowanym stadium projektowania już. I ostatni odcinek Ełk, granica państwa, kończy się w tej chwili właśnie studium wykonalności.
On this slide, you can see progress of works on the whole Rail Baltica lines in Poland. As you can see sections on the map on the left side. You can see sections marked with different colors. And red color, it means that the project is already completed. Yellow line means that the construction works were completed, and the line was put into service now on tracks number 1 and 2. Then the first blue part means that we are almost ready to sign the contract for construction works. And violet part, we are considering construction of the bypass of Białystok node. It should also shorten the travel time and to speed up the whole journey. And this is we are at the phase of the study documentation for this Białystok bypass, northern bypass. And then we have 2 sections marked with green color. The lighter green means that we have designing process going on, and we are at the phase also of obtaining permits for construction works for this part. And the last, of course, from Ełk to Trakiszki to the border, we have this is the phase with the preparation of study documentation for this part. So you can see all together we have, depending on some variants, if we include bypass or we implement different solution, but so it's between 373 kilometers and 397 kilometers, the whole Rail Baltica section in Poland. And you can see that 66 kilometers of the railway of the section, this section was fully completed. On the next 36 kilometers, we already have traffic, and it will be completed, fully operational in the near future. And then we have around, let's say, more than 250 kilometers of railway lines under construction or under preparation for procurement procedure.
Szanowni Państwo, wracamy do pierwszego odcinka, gdzie mamy zakończone już prace inwestycyjne. Jest to odcinek o długości 66 km. Sfinansowany oczywiście był ze środków unijnych. Jest to odcinek Warszawa-Rembertów-Sadowne. Wartość tego projektu to 1,5 miliarda złotych. Jeżeli chodzi o efekty, jakie uzyskaliśmy, to wcześniej przed modernizacją ruch pociągów pasażerskich był z prędkością 80 do 120 km na godzinę, obecna jest 160 km na godzinę. Dla towarowych było 80, teraz już linię mamy przystosowaną do prędkości 120 km na godzinę.
We are going into details. So on this slide, you can see this red, marked with red color section, fully completed, already completed. Construction works on the Warszawa-Rembertów-Zielonka-Tłuszcz Sadowne section. We spent project value was 1.5 billion zlotys. So it's around 400 million euros, less between 350, let's say, and 400 million euros. And you can see also on this slide that before modernization, we had speed for passenger trains, it was between 80 and 120, and now it's 160 after completion of the project. And for freight trains, it was 80 kilometers per hour, and now it's 120 kilometers per hour.
Kolejny odcinek na terenie Polski jest to odcinek od Sadownego do Czyżewa. Jest to odcinek w tej chwili, który kończymy już realizować. Na koniec roku 2019 uruchomiliśmy już ruch po 2 zmodernizowanych torach. Jest to odcinek o długości 35 km. Wartość tego projektu to 1,1 miliarda złotych. Efekty też tutaj widać, to jest podniesienie prędkości dla pociągów pasażerskich z prędkości 120 na 160 i dla towarowych z prędkości 100 km na godzinę na 120.
The next section is Sadowne, it's between Sadowne and Czyżew, and this project is almost completed, but there is a traffic already going on onto modernized tracks. It's only 35 kilometers in length, and we spent almost 1.1 billion zlotys on this project. It was financed by CEF, and you can see also results of this modernization. That before modernization, for passenger trains speed was 120, now it's 160, and for freight was 100, and now it's 120 kilometers.
Kolejny odcinek Czyżew-Białystok. Jest to bardzo duży kontrakt. Niedawno, bo 26 czerwca 2020 roku spółka podpisała umowę na realizację tego odcinka już. Wartość całego projektu to jest 3,9 miliarda złotych. Projekt ma być realizowany w latach właśnie między 2020 a 2023. Efekty, jakie mamy zamiar uzyskać, to jest z obecnych 100-120 km dla pociągów pasażerskich podniesienie prędkości do 200 km. Natomiast jeżeli chodzi o pociągi towarowe, to z 80 na 120 km na godzinę. I w tej chwili jeszcze pragnę poinformować, że jeżeli chodzi o 2 wcześniejsze odcinki, które omawiałem, dla tych 2 odcinków spółka obecnie również prowadzi prace przygotowawcze związane z likwidacją skrzyżowań bezkolizyjnych, co w konsekwencji po zmodernizowaniu tego odcinka do 2023 i zlikwidowaniu przejazdów w poziomie szyn, na odcinku już od Warszawy do Białegostoku będziemy mogli poruszać się z prędkością 200 km na godzinę.
Now it's the, let's say, green part of our project. It's a quite long section, but I would like also to come back to what I said before. I would like to give you some additional information concerning 2 sections in red and yellow, yes, and that we are also working now on elimination of level crossings on these lines, and when we finish it, there will be viaducts or will be no level crossings at all. So we'll be able by 2023 to increase the speed on this line from 160 to 200 kilometers. And now talking about Czyżew-Białystok section, it's a quite long section when we compare it with 2 sections which I showed you before, and it's a big project. it's about 3.9 billion euro project. So it's about 1 billion euros, we can say, more or less. And of course, with this project, we are planning to increase the speed of passenger trains from 100, 120 to 200 kilometers, and for freight trains from 80 and 100 kilometers to 120 kilometers. So, and we plan to finish this project by the end of 2023. So when we when we take into account what I said before about two sections and this section, so it means that by 2023 we'll have a quite big part of the Rail Baltica project in Poland with speed 200 kilometers for passenger trains.
Kolejny, ten krótki odcinek, który widać na mapie, dotyczy, tak jak wspomniałem wcześniej, obwodnicy Białegostoku. W 2019 roku spółka zdecydowała się ogłosić i podpisać umowę na studium wykonalności w celu przeanalizowania możliwości wybudowania tej obwodnicy w celu skrócenia jeszcze przejazdu między Warszawą a granicą państwa i w celu skrócenia postoju pociągów pasażerskich na stacji Białystok. W tej chwili wygląda to w ten sposób, że wszystkie pociągi wjeżdżające na stację Białystok, aby mogły dalej pojechać w kierunku Ełku i granicy państwa, muszą zmienić kierunek. Wybudowanie takiej obwodnicy umożliwi nam jazdę już bez zmiany kierunku. Założenia mamy takie, że obwodnica docelowo ma mieć jak największe parametry eksploatacyjne, czyli rozważamy również nawet prędkość 200 km na godzinę.
And now I would like to say a few words about this violet part, which is normal bypass by Białystok. We are in the, let's say, feasibility study for this bypass, and we are thinking seriously about building this bypass because this is very important because today if you go to Białystok and then you want to go to Elk, then you have to change direction of train and it takes time, of course. And well, you can see, depending on the investment variant, the length of this section can be between 6 kilometers and 29 kilometers. And we seriously thinking about in the about best possible connection about shortening the journey time. So now it's 80 kilometers per hour for passenger trains, and maybe with this new bypass it will be possible to run trains with 200 kilometers per hour passenger and freight with 120, which is quite important factor.
Kolejny odcinek od Białegostoku do Ełku. W tej chwili mamy bardzo zaawansowane już prace projektowe. Odcinek ten został podzielony na dwie fazy. Pierwsza faza to jest przebudowa stacji Ełk osobowy i Ełk towarowy. Druga faza to jest odcinek od Białegostoku do Ełku. Jeszcze w tym roku, w czwartym kwartale, przepraszam, zamierzamy ogłosić postępowanie na przebudowę stacji Ełk i Ełk towarowy, na co mamy zapewnione finansowanie ze środków unijnych z CEF-u w wysokości tam 739 milionów złotych. Jeżeli chodzi o kolejną fazę, czyli fazę drugą, czyli przebudowa układu torowego między stacją Białystok a stacjami Ełk, już bez stacji Ełk, ogłoszenie przetargu na realizację już robót zamierzamy ogłosić w pierwszej połowie 2021 roku. Efekty jakie? To jest oczywiście długość 100 km linii. Efekty takie, że podnosimy prędkość również do 200 km na godzinę dla pociągów pasażerskich, dla towarowych do 120.
For this green line section between Białystok and Ełk, this project is under the documentation phase. The project preparation, the documentation preparation phase now, and this project will be divided into two stages. First stage, it will be just modernization of Ełk station, and the second phase, it's the modernization of Białystok-Ełk line section. And we are planning to finish documentation phase in the third quarter of 2021. And we would like to start to start procurement phase for construction works for the first phase for station Elk in this fourth quarter of this year. Procurement, and we'd like to sign the contract in the third quarter of 2021, of course. And with this project, we would like to increase the speed for passenger trains from 100 kilometers per hour to 200 kilometers per hour, and for freight trains from 80 kilometers per hour to 120 kilometers per hour.
Kolejny i ostatni odcinek na terenie Polski to odcinek między stacją Ełk a granicą państwa, przebiegający przez również stację Suwałki. W przypadku tego odcinka jesteśmy w końcowym etapie przygotowania studium wykonalności. Dlatego też 5 sierpnia tego roku ogłosiliśmy postępowanie na wyłonienie wykonawcy dokumentacji projektowej. Zakończenie etapu dokumentacji planujemy na trzeci kwartał 2023 roku, dzięki czemu już w pierwszym kwartale 2023 roku zamierzamy ogłosić postępowanie na wyłonienie wykonawcy robót na tym odcinku i zakończenie robót planujemy do końca 2027 roku. Wartość tego odcinka, tego projektu szacowana jest na 4,8 miliarda złotych. Jest to około 94 km długości linii i w tym przypadku, jeżeli chodzi o efekty, to prędkość zwiększamy do wysokości 250 km na godzinę z obecnych ATS między 40 a 80 dla pociągów pasażerskich i do 120 km na godzinę dla pociągów torowych.
And now the last section of our Rail Baltica project in Poland, the last, and let's say almost the longest, but this project is also a quite advanced stage. We are about to finish study documentation for this section, which is about 100 kilometers long. This is also a very huge project, which will cost about 4 billion zlotys. So it's more than 1 billion euros. And we started the tendering procedure for project documentation at the beginning of August. And we plan to finish all construction works by the end of 2027. And of course, we take into account a new financial perspective, and we would like to use this new financial perspective, let's say, to find financing for ERTMS system. Because when we finish this project, as you can see at the bottom of this slide, the passenger trains will be able to run with speed 250 kilometers per hour. It's a really huge change because now this line is at quite poor condition. So it's between 40 and 80 kilometers per hour for passenger and between 30 and 80 for freight trains. And of course, freight trains will run with 120 kilometers per hour.
Szanowni Państwo, na tym slajdzie pokazałem, jakie mamy oszczędności czasowe przed modernizacją i po modernizacji. I tutaj możemy sobie zobaczyć, że dla pociągów Intercity obecny czas między stacją Warszawa a Białystok jest 2 godziny 7 minut. Do najszybszego pociągu Intercity po modernizacji, który nie będzie zatrzymywał się na stacjach pośrednich, czyli będzie bezpośrednio jechał do Białegostoku, to jest czas godzina 27 minut. Jeżeli chodzi o odcinek...
On this slide, we'd like to show you the final results and good effects for our passengers. Today, when you see take a look at this yellow line, it's the section between Warszawa and Białystok. The fastest passenger intercity trains need 2 hours and 7 minutes. After modernization, after completion of this project, the fastest train will need only 1 hour and 27 minutes. So it means that it will be shorter by 40 minutes, yes, the journey time.
Kolejny odcinek Białystok-Ełk. W tej chwili czas przejazdu pociągu Intercity, czy pociągów dalekobieżnych, to jest godzina 21 minut. Po modernizacji zakładamy 55 minut. Jeżeli chodzi o pociągi regionalne, obecnie jest to godzina 46, po modernizacji godzina 20. Odcinek Białystok-Ełk.
The next section between Białystok and Ełk today, we have the fastest intercity train, needs 1 hour and 21 minutes. After completion of this project, it will take only 55 minutes. And for regional trains, now today it's 1 hour 35 minutes journey time, and after modernization it will take only 1 hour and 21 minutes.
Kolejny odcinek od Ełku do granicy. Mamy największe zyski czasowe z tego względu, że ponosimy prędkość do 250 km na godzinę na tym odcinku. Obecnie czas przejazdu pociągu ze stacji Ełk do granicy jest to godzina 24 minuty. Po modernizacji pociąg bezpośredni będzie w stanie przejechać to w ciągu 37 minut.
And the last section from Ełk to Trakiszki, we are going to increase speed on this section to 250. So as you can see, the effect is the most significant. It's really significant. So today it's 1 hour 24 minutes journey time, and after modernization, the fastest intercity train will need only 37 minutes to go from Ełk to Trakiszki.
Szanowni Państwo, jeszcze króciutko tylko informacja o sposobie nabywania nieruchomości pod inwestycję, jak to wygląda na terenie Polski. Na terenie Polski obowiązuje ustawa o transporcie kolejowym i w ustawie tej znajduje się rozdział 2b, na który nasza spółka zawsze się powołuje przy pozyskiwaniu nieruchomości. Na podstawie tej ustawy wojewoda wydaje decyzję lokalizacyjną, która określa zakres inwestycji, zatwierdza podział nieruchomości. Decyzja lokalizacyjna również nadaje tytuł prawny do nieruchomości. Zasadniczo wygląda to w ten sposób, że nieruchomości są pozyskiwane na rzecz Skarbu Państwa i to Skarb Państwa jest właścicielem, natomiast spółka PKP Polskie Linie Kolejowe jest użytkownikiem wieczystym tych gruntów. Oraz decyzja ta określa ograniczenia w stosunku do użytkowania tych nieruchomości.
And I would like to also give you some information about land acquisition for investment in Poland. The main legal act, it's Rail Act, and part of this act, section 2b, which is valid from November 2007 till the at the end of December 2030. It describes the whole process, and it means that decision about the localization of railway lines, it's decision. This decision is taken by voivodeship, and it takes 3 months on the basis of this Railway Act. And on the basis of this decision, we know that exact localization of the investment. This decision divides the land acquisition, and of course, it gives also legal status of this land. I mean, so it belongs to the state treasurer, and PKP PLK is the user of this, of course, land.
And actually, I would like to, sorry for the technical, I would actually like to ask you to finish your presentation at the moment, because we only have 15 minutes left for the discussion. I mean, the essential part of your information has been already presented, I guess. And, you know, all the administrative issues are, of course, always interesting, but I guess we won't have any time to cover them. So I would rather thank you for your very, you know, substantial presentation on this side and telling us about the status of the project. And I would like to go over to the question and answer session, because in fact we're really pressed by time at the moment. because we actually, spent like double the time planned for the Polish part, because it was a translation, which was actually not planned from the beginning. It was planned to be only in English. So in fact, I have a question, probably to the Polish side, from Mr. Piotr Seges from the audience, and the question is, I will ask it. Baltic countries are planning to execute and are executing the whole project under the BIM, Building Information Modeling System and methodology. Is Poland and PKP Polska also going to use the same system, Building Information Modeling System, for the Polish part of the Rail Baltica project, or will you be using some other system?
Budowanie informacyjnego, ale projektu i budu, nie wiem dokładnie, o co mi tutaj chodzi, bo kraje bałtyckie używają takiego.
Nie wiem, czy dobrze się zrozumieliśmy. Jeżeli chodzi o realizację tego projektu, ponieważ jest to projekt stosunkowo złożony, Polska go realizuje w takim systemie, że najpierw przygotowuje studium wykonalności i po zrealizowaniu studium wykonalności nie idziemy w system projektuj i buduj, natomiast zlecamy zawsze przygotowanie dokumentacji projektowej, aby...
I'm not sure if I know what would you like to know about this project, because our project is quite complex, and I would like to say that we start our project with feasibility study. On the basis of this feasibility study, we are preparing.
Could you speak louder a bit?
Then, on the basis of feasibility study, we order project documentation. I potem?
Jeżeli będziemy mieli rozwiązane wszystkie kwestie techniczne na etapie dokumentacji projektowej i jesteśmy w fazie pozyskiwania wszystkich decyzji administracyjnych, wówczas zlecamy dopiero realizację tej inwestycji.
So, and on the basis of this project documentation, if we are sure that all technical details are solved and we know how to go on with this project, then we start the next phase and we order, zamawiamy
realizację, czyli budowę.
And then we sign construction contracts.
Okay. So
strictly, so it's not like design and build.
Oddzielnie przygotowujemy, oddzielnie projektujemy i oddzielnie realizujemy już.
So we have, let's say, 3 separate stages: preparatory, designing, and then construction.
Yes. So if I understand correctly, you will be using the usual model used currently by PKP Polskie Linie Kolejowe for implementation of this project. Do I understand correctly?
Czyli że korzystamy normalnie z takiego trybu jak przy wszystkich projektach, takie jakie mamy jako PKP PLK.
Może nie tak jak ze wszystkich, ponieważ w przypadku prostszych inwestycji, które prowadzimy na terenie Polski, jeżeli są to mniej skomplikowane, nie podlegają te linie rozbudowie, zwiększeniu prędkości do 200 czy do 250 na godzinę, a jedynie linia ta podlega modernizacji, to często już po studium wykonalności ogłaszamy jedno postępowanie wspólne na zaprojektowanie i wybudowanie, ale to dotyczy tylko mniejszych i bardziej prostych inwestycji.
Well, as I already mentioned, this project is quite complex, so it's not, of course, most of our projects are going the same procedure as it was described, but there are some less complicated projects when there is no increase of speed to 250 or building new tracks, etc. And then with these projects, we just start with the feasibility study, and then we have the next phase, it's designing and construction.
Okay, thank you very much for that. And now let's turn back we don't have any further questions from the audience at the moment. In fact, everyone can ask questions in the chat box if you like to do that. Well, And I would like to thank Mr. Marek Kubera for his very substantial presentation so far. And let's turn back to the Baltics for a while, and also a political or strategic question, if you like. Mr. Vice Minister Gytis Mažeika, are you still with us? I would like to direct this question to you probably, and maybe to Mr. Agnis Dixon as well. Well, the question is about financing. Well, we did discuss a lot about what are the sources of financing, and we see really big numbers in it. But I would like to, ask for the strategic threat, if you like, to EU financing of this project, and namely the strategic threat is called Brexit, and the connected decrease of budgetary capacities of European Union. Also, the new initiatives of European Union in connection to COVID, where Southern European countries need a lot of financing, a lot of subsidies, a lot of help to restore their economies and societies as a result of this crisis that we had this year, and we're still having it. So, what is the actual threat to getting the needed financing from European Union? Because according to the figures you have shown us, almost 4.5 billion euros are still to be allocated. We are still planning to get them. We haven't got them yet. So what are the real situation? What is the real situation? What is the real threat with that? Or maybe there is no threat.
Okay, it's a good question, but let me maybe start from slightly. We have to actually agree on some wording here. So basically, there's no threat. There are only risks around. So this is where I should be starting my intervention. Now, you mentioned Brexit. Well, basically, I presume you mean by Brexit as an example of global risks that are occurring, or basically you cannot even predict or foresee. So yes, that was on our.
I mean, Britain was the main contributor, one of the main contributors to the European Union budget. So essentially, the financial contributions will be cut. So generally, less money will be left for distribution.
Yes, but look, this was on our agenda and it was one of the risks. But look what we have now. Basically, this summer, the agreement on 2021-2027 budget is already there. And due to actually very tough negotiations and lobby from the Baltic state, as well from Polish side, and I have to pay due credit to RB Rail, to Agnes also. So these were actually a lot of efforts have been put on during the negotiations, and we have a very good result. In essence, we have more additional 1.4 billion potentially available funding to Rail Baltic. This is not strictly allocated to Rail Baltica project. But what I'm saying is that although we had that risks in mind, the result today is not does not confirm that risk. What we see clearly is that Europe sees the potential and the necessity of such big projects, and probably the added value of those projects actually incentivizes and motivates all the contributors to the budget, the European budget, to allocate their priorities accordingly, because they know this is basically the main driving force behind the economy. But speaking about the risks, there is some risk we see in the future is that even this huge amount available, we are still not sure this will be allocated to the project, because we have to make our own homework. We have to make huge progress. We have to make the preparatory work basically for the construction done. So just to give you an example, Agnes will not allow me to make mistakes, but I presume that we, Rail Baltica, has received more than half of the recent call for European funding. That includes also Polish construction works, which actually proves that the project is very on the top of the European agenda. Everyone knows the project, everyone is aware of it, and there's no disagreement on the necessity of it. So that's the positive side. Maybe on the risk side is that even with this increase of this amount of the current funding available, we're still not sure this will be sufficiently enough. So there is some risk still ahead, but as Tono also mentioned, the actually amount which is now available has never been that big historically, and that's the good news, which means that we have to work more. We have to actually do some, as I said, more homework, and in showing that we are ready and we are prepared to take the money and to put them actually into well-prepared works, well-prepared pipeline. So just to conclude on my side on this question, I come back again to the previous, to the latest call of funding. So we had in the Baltics, we had requested, and we were actually ready to construct and to do other works requiring more than 700 million euros, but this was not available on the European agenda in the budget. So basically, still the budget was historically big, but it was not enough to fulfill our needs. Hereby, I mean the needs of the Baltics as well as the Polish works. So what we see is that the Baltics and the Polish side, we're actually with this project, we're actually very much in advance in the preparation. And I believe this well-prepared project, a well-prepared work pipeline on the side of all the project partners is actually the best cure, so to say, if I may speak in this way, against any risks of non-funding or lack of funding on the European side. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vice Minister. I don't know, Juris, would you like to add something? Sorry, Agnes, would you like to add something to that, or?
I think actually Gitis is very right, because if you look at the competition at the European level, Rail Baltica project checks all the boxes. It's cross-border project. It has a military mobility effect. It's a greenfield project. It contributes to green environment. And as correctly mentioned, already is a fact that Rail Baltica in 4 countries in the last call from 1.1 billion euros received 700 million. Already demonstrates this commitment from the Commission and from the partners. Of course, we have a homework. If we will not move forward with the contracts for construction, if we will not be ready, there is no reason to give money, because as you know, every single project, nobody brings you in a suitcase 6 billion euros and hope for you to succeed. You have to move forward and financing follows. But what's even more important is to prepare the market to absorb this financing, because we see that in the next 3-4 years, huge construction works are planned, and this is what we need to work on, even more than to ensure the financing.
Yes. Thank you for that. A follow-up, quick follow-up question. According to the plan, weight of freight versus passengers in the Rail Baltic financial model. What is your plan? How much income will the project, once completed, receive from passenger, haulage, or versus freight haulage? What will be the percentage weight of each of these?
I mean, precise percentage we will see when the operation starts. But however, what is currently planned? But currently is planned that there are, for example, 5 million passengers on Rail Baltica and 16 million tons of cargo on Rail Baltica after the first 5-6 years of operations. And at the beginning, I said that this is very important because we are having mixed traffic line for cargo, for passengers, regional passengers, and night trains even. So it's kind of still to be determined, but of course the cargo will be the main part of the finances of the line itself.
Okay, we also have another question from the audience. Mr. Martinos Lukashevicius is asking, according to the European Court of Auditors, the cost of the high-speed railway link Rail Baltica will run significantly over budget, and its economic viability is in doubt. Can you please comment? So I guess it's an open question for all of you. I don't know who would like to answer. Maybe Agnes?
Yeah, I can most likely start, and then colleagues can actually continue. First of all, indeed, there was an audit report, but that audit report was on European Commission. And European Commission, in order to audit, to illustrate how European Commission is working, took 8 major projects in Europe, which actually shows the significance of Rail Baltica in the previous discussion as well. So what they said about Rail Baltica? First of all, they said that Rail Baltica indeed could have a risk about the cost increase and also a risk about time extension. I think that both of those risks are reasonable and they are being managed because those risks are any project, whatever you are completing. What they said about this economical viability, they did not consider any cargo whatsoever. What they said, if you look at standard high-speed line, which is Rail Baltica is not standard high-speed line because we are mixed traffic, then you need at least 9 million inhabitants in order for that to be feasible. In Baltic countries, it's close to 5, it's not 9. And they did not consider any cargo on the line whatsoever. And based on this simple calculation, they said that this is not feasible. Not even social economical aspects, nothing of that. If you go according to this logic, in 95% of the Europe, none of the roads, railways are economically viable. Maybe between France and Belgium, 2-3 lines could be economically viable. Via Baltica is not economically viable. So this kind of is a little bit confusing, this statement. From the other hand, what actually Court of Auditors said, that Rail Baltica is a best run project with a less potential delays and cost increase, because on average delay of the project in Europe, it's 11 years. Currently, we are still on a time schedule with the possibility of delay for 2, maximum 3 years, with a risk if there is financing not in place or market is not ready, etc., etc. So at the end of the day, Rail Baltica project is the best run project in Europe comparing to those major projects.
Great. Well, I guess you covered the answer very, very, very well, and no additional comments, I guess, are needed. Let's turn over to Lithuania quickly. Mr. Arrhenius Jackus, well, could you tell us more about the integration of the Vilnius, part to the Rail Baltica system? If we all remember and recall, initially, when the initial feasibility study or planning stage was done, Vilnius was a bit left aside from the whole project, and it was essentially added to the project later. The question is, how is the integration of the Vilnius line to the whole project going on? Will it start, or is it planned to start at the same time with the whole railway line 2026? how is the financing? Is it financed from the general or budget of Rail Baltica, or it has some specific special financing line? What is the situation with connection of Vilnius?
Thank you for the question. I should say that the Vilnius section integration to the Rail Baltica project is already finished in 2013, when 5 ministers signed a declaration telling that Vilnius section is a part of Rail Baltica project. It was Poland, Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania, and Finland. So, to my understanding, this issue is solved a long time ago, and even before, it was prepared an additional study, extension of IACOM study 2011 original, and all calculations showed that the Vilnius connections will give a lot of benefits to the whole project, and parameters of the Rail Baltica project is really better with Vilnius section. So why it was doubts about Vilnius is part of the project or not part, actually it was technical discussions with European Commission how to receive financing for this section regarding TEN-T regulation, CEF regulation, so it's just formalities and technicalities. And even this actually solved, because we have several times official announcements from European Commission and even in written form that there is no questions anymore regarding the Vilnius-Kaunas section, and it's part of original Rail Baltica project. So Kaunas-Vilnius section has the same deadline as the whole project, 2026. And we have a lot of, let's say, business and tourists in Vilnius from Poland, and a lot of bus services and planes is servicing this flows from Vilnius to Warsaw, from Kaunas to Warsaw, and the territorial planning from Kaunas to Vilnius is going on now, and all deadlines are the same as the main project. So, and Vilnius-Kaunas investments, necessary investments, are included in the total common calculations of Rail Baltica project investment. So everything is there, and everything is moving according to the single common time schedule, and it is very, very nice. I would like to react as well, taking the opportunity to the presentation of PLK colleagues. So we saw that the time schedule deadlines are more or less the same as Rail Baltica project. It's 2027 in Poland, and actually Rail Baltica construction should be finished in 2026. And 2026 is for testing operations, and actually working in the full capacity should be 2027. So actually it is the same deadline, and we have had several meetings with PLK and LTG Infra, more technical, between two infrastructure managers, and as well with including RB Rail colleagues, and we agreed a corridor. And Rail Baltica will come from Lithuania to Poland, and the contrary, and all these technical issues are solved, and Vilnius-Kaunas connection really has a very huge potential for transportation of passengers. We are going to have 4 hours travel time from Vilnius to Warsaw, and to my understanding, it's really a very big benefit for the whole project having this section in part of the original project. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You also covered my next question, in fact, connection of the Elk-Trakiški line to the Baltic railway part, because yes, the planned finishing of that was 2027, and the Baltic part was planned to be finished 1 year earlier. So yes, thank you, already covered that.
If I may add to regarding to these questions regarding this current line, so you mentioned the report of European Court of Auditors, and one of the remarks from them was that Rail Baltica without regional connections will not going to work, or will not have enough passengers and cargo on the line. So this existing already line from Poland to Kaunas is actually assuring this regional connection, and it is even, let's say, according already European Union Court of Auditors remarks that we need to use to link the regions. So this line will definitely serve this for regional connections and will give benefit for the project, because according to good cooperation with PLK, we are now ready to suggest services for business, for cargo transportations and for passengers as well.
Okay, thank you very much, Arrhenius. And my last question would go to the northern part, to Mr. Tõnu Grünberg. Well, obviously, the connection from Tallinn to Riga and later to Vilnius goes via Pärnu. And the ones who know the Estonian, railway network history know that Pärnu was not really well connected to Tallinn so far. So essentially, the whole line will be built anew. So, what are the biggest challenges in this part? How the project is going on? What do you see as the biggest challenge in constructing this part? Tallinn-Pärnu line.
Well, first let me say that Pärnu is from Estonian part probably the biggest gainer from this project, because they really get a great connection. So 40 minutes to Tallinn and 1 hour to Riga. Basically, that is really the good place to be. Also, there will be a cargo port terminal, so that's also important for them. And they have a port there. We have a big port for the Rail Baltica this route. And so Pärnu really will benefit big time. And of course, we will have altogether, if you talk about the regional effects, then the local train will have 12 stops in Estonia. I think the same or more is probably in other Baltic states. I don't know the exact number. So we have 12 stops. Of course, we have challenges, but I mean that's the job to be done. So we actually had one 5-kilometer line path, which was challenged by the Supreme Court as the planning process, which was done by local governments in long time ago, was not properly evaluated by the Nature 2000 methodology for the environmental impact. So we just need to redo it, but this is not really anything that's going to stop the project, because we can concentrate more on other sections to build the other parts of the road first, and then come to this Pärnu to Ikla, the Latvian border part. So it's all going to be fine. So basically, that's the answer. You're muted, Robert. Robert, you are muted. You are muted.
Robert, we cannot hear you because your mic is muted.
Oh, sorry. Yes, thank you. Sorry for that. Last question concerning the Muuga freight terminal connection. Also going to Mr. Tõnu Grünberg. Well, Finland is at least in the strategy also part of the project, and Finnish freight is also, expected to come south via the Rail Baltic. And what is your expectation? What are your plans? How much freight will come from Finland via the newly constructed Rail Baltic line?
So definitely the real numbers will show up in tens of years to come. But basically, there is already today a big freight, at least in our scale. I mean, we are a small country, but at least between Finland and Estonia, there is a freight cargo traffic which is very busy already today. But now we are not that attractive as a route because we don't have any fast connection to Europe. So it's easier to send. So Finns and Swedes are sending actually the cargo by ships directly to Rotterdam or anywhere else in Europe. So it doesn't really make sense always to bring it here. Only in some routes we can reload containers and send it by the old railway to the Russian side, or then of course to the road transportation. So basically Finland is very much interested that if this route will be ready, the Rail Baltic will be ready, they can get a logistically new channel which is much faster. So if you look at the the possibility to move to the Central Europe and basically from Warsaw or Berlin to anywhere else. So it's gonna connect them first time in real fast way for the heavy cargo. Otherwise, of course, you can use airplanes if you have lighter stuff, but it's very expensive. That's why the volumes we have, of course, the estimates, but there are definitely more, like Agnes mentioned. So there is some 16 million tons of planned, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be even higher, much higher. So it's already today, actually, we have a substantial traffic going through the Baltics. So we will generate more. And I think immediately when this, all the planning of all the route 3 Baltics will be ready, we can actually come to the next phase of feasibility study. This will be done. And then we see a new analysis how this freight and the passenger traffic will be. And I'm sure there will be more than actually planned as of today. Thank you.
So the Scandinavian trade and freight is actually a potential untapped resource, which will also benefit the financial modeling of the whole project. So, and with this, I would like to conclude our today's, webinar. I would really like to extend great big thanks to our speakers, starting from Mr. Marek Kubera. Thank you very much. Mr. Arenius Jackus, Mr. Tonu Grunberg, Mr. Agnes Drikšna, and Mr. Titus Pažeika. Thank you all for participating, for sharing your knowledge, sharing your ideas, sharing your insights. Thank you for all the participants for being there and asking questions, and I hope to see you all in our upcoming webinars of the Polish-Lithuanian Chamber of Commerce. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you very much.
No, czyli wyszło, że 2 godziny. 2 godziny.
Bye.
Yeah, thank you and bye.